I've been teaching now for 15 years, but really teaching as a Christian for only the last couple. My wife and I, who were just dating at the time, had been living together for quite a few years, had a long-established relationship, and in trying to live out my obedience to God, our pastor, whose church we'd only been attending for the few months, he and I met, and he told me, listen, I don't think what you're doing is honoring God. And so my response to him was, very strangely, okay. And so I made arrangements to move out. Anytime you make those types of decisions, that starts to filter into the other parts of your life. And so, that became something that was known in my workplace. It became something that was known in my classroom. And I think anytime the gospel penetrates our lives like it should, it raises really difficult and important questions, but at the same time, it opens them up to a view of the world that, for the most part, most high school students is completely foreign to them. And started to talk about relationships in that way, how we make choices to become involved with people for short-term pleasure, but in doing so, we really start to sacrifice long-term joys. And so there's a few boys in the class who really started to take that seriously, really started to rethink the kinds of promiscuous choices that they were making, and started to really grapple with, how can I live a life that looks differently than the one I have? Because you're right, I'm having all these relationships and I feel empty. And so you're telling me that I can be involved in a relationship that's going to bring me lasting joy, but it requires some things of me that I don't know if I'm capable of. In showing students the joy that's available in making a different set of choices, we show both the impossibility of living up to that and the need for Christ to fulfill that. I have this student that comes to me and basically says, I know you're the God guy, and I've got questions, I've got concerns, I've got guilt, and yet at the same time that crosses really difficult lines for educators. And so that's always a really tough space to be in and to speak to. I made the decision to talk to him, to invite him to the church that I've been attending. It's a story that's not done. That's a road that he's still walking. But for teachers who are Christians, I think it's one of those amazing moments where you feel like the gospel really penetrates. Salvation is very much a work of God, and he calls us to participate in that. And so I'm just glad I was able to.